Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. I want to ask this question. What is the real world? What is our reality? And is it shifting? Really? We're going to dive into this today in this update, and I apologize for not being on here in over a month. I really felt the need to wait until I felt inspired, and here I am today. I am very grateful for the opportunity to be speaking to a lot of people every day in my life. Through my online school, I have people coming to me all the time, and of course, clients coming to me, and we're talking about things that really matter in our lives, as well as, of course, my podcast, The Enchanted Earth, which is also here on YouTube. Check that out. I'll put links in the notes below. But I talk to so many people, I get really kind of a feel of the zeitgeist of what's going on. And lately, I've been really noticing so many more people craving a more authentic life. I've been noticing this for several years, but it's really like a huge wave I feel is coming in right now. People want a life that feels true to them. They're not really saying those words, but that is the essence of what they're saying. What they're saying is more like, I feel stuck in my life. I want something that really fulfills me, that uses my gifts, if they even know what that is. People are generally sick of soul-sucking work, and I so resonate with that because I've been there too. I went to school and got my degree in marketing, and oh my gosh, I loved it. I worked in New York City. I worked in Greenwich, Connecticut, and on Long Island. And I did that for like 25 years. And then I got to a point where it was really sucking me dry, and I still didn't get the message and finally got laid off. And I did it around for several years, still working in marketing because there was this fear, right? Of the unknown and what am I going to do? And I certainly didn't know what I was going to do, but I can definitely identify with that feeling of just not content or fulfilled at all with what I do. And I really craved that. So I totally understand where these people are coming from. But now, on top of that type of anxiety that I had like 25 years ago, these current world events, and that just adds so much stress to what's going on a personal level. And there's so much collective trauma being triggered. So these people that I'm talking to, as I was 25 years ago, is in this in-between phase, right? So it's like you're at a threshold. Your old life no longer makes sense to you, but you have no idea where you're going. So there's this anxiety and this fear about that. And now it's even more so because as a collective, we are in a threshold right now. This old paradigm of the mind, the power of the mind and analytical thinking and everything being analyzed on a scientific level. I am a fan of science. I am certainly not at all degrading science, but it's with the obsession with everything having to be able to be known on a physical level that I feel is so the old way of being. We're not out of that yet, but we are in this threshold of looking forward to a new way of being. I think so many of us can feel that. And what is it that we're moving into? And the answer is really nobody knows. And that's kind of the excitement of it. I do feel so much excitement for this, but for so many people, it's so confusing. I mean, for all of us, it's confusing. But being in this threshold is a very challenging place to be. For so many of us, we've been there on a personal level and we've experienced it. And there are these thresholds throughout our life. So many of us who've been on this path for a while, some people for decades and decades, they've been through this threshold and they have such a strong grounding in who they are and what this time represents that is so inspirational for the rest of us. And for some of us, we've been through a few thresholds. We know what to expect as far as not knowing what to expect, if that makes any sense to you. So there is a collective trauma that's being triggered and it's being amplified on a daily basis, and it triggers us all. It triggers every one of us, but it's how we respond to that trigger. Are we recognizing it immediately when our body just starts we're starting to get a sense of being triggered, are we able to stop it and ground and be in a place of peace? Or are we allowing ourselves to go into kind of this drama spiral? Now, as healers and light workers, we are the sensitive ones, right? We pick up on subtle energies and vibrations that most people do not notice. So this time is especially challenging for us to move through. But yet, this is when the world needs us most. So over and over again, you hear me and you hear so many other people talk about staying grounded, finding a way to stay grounded that works for you, and stay informed about what's going on. Don't be in denial and just like closing the door and not looking. It won't go away. And you are then informed. So staying informed, but staying out of the collective spiral is so important. And I've learned this. And I have to keep reminding myself that helping another person can be very, very simple. If someone around you is going through something big in their personal lives or is grieving the uncertainty of this threshold space that we're in, my suggestion is not to preach and not to try to convince them everything's going to be okay. If you can, if you have the bandwidth, if you have the groundedness to be able to be present with them and to breathe with them, to slow your breath down. There was a really great free resource by HeartMath that I did a couple of years ago, and I'm not sure if it's available. I actually just downloaded a free course from them, and maybe it's integrated into that now. I'll try to put a link below for that. But it was about helping people through natural disasters or even like wartime disasters. So being one of those people that go into those spaces during these, short periods of disaster and helping them in their process. And I think the most valuable thing I got out of that, well, there's two things. One is I recognized that that information is so helpful for nowadays because we are going through a global disaster on so many levels, if we look at it in that way. And two, it can support us, help somebody in our lives who was unable to get grounded in the moment. So this technique is very simple. It's to be still as you can and to breathe with the person. So intentionally opening your heart with breath. And when someone is in a traumatic state, their breath is fast. It's very shallow. So actually for you to breathe deeply and slowly with the intention of helping their heart and helping them, that is an amazing gift we can give to another. So if we can be in that space, if we are not the person that needs the help, if we can be grounded and just with breath to be present and to just listen, to just give that person time to be heard, that is the most important gift we can give as light workers to another. And if you find yourself unable to do that, maybe there's a light worker in your circle that can provide that for you. So look for that. Just be able to breathe and help that person have that deeper calming breath and bring that into their bodies. Because all of our triggers are physical. I mean, they're mental and they're physical. And the heart rate goes up, the breath gets shallow. We're in that fight or flight, and we need to bring ourselves back. And another just idea that came to my mind was I saw something about how animals, when their fight or flight response is triggered, they shake. It's really interesting. We can shake, right? When we get really upset about something and especially fear. I just think about like when we're getting ready to go on a stage and speak to a big audience, which I've done a few times, you tend to shake a little bit before you go out. I haven't gotten rid of that. But anyhow, maybe some movement, like getting them up and moving around and just letting the adrenaline run through their bodies and not keep it so contained. So that can help as well. So I just have a couple of things I wanted to share with you about the astrology right now. Well, we know if you've been listening, Saturn and Neptune had a conjunction, which means they met from our viewpoint in the sky at 0 degrees Aries on February 20th. Now, this is really significant because this is known as a global reset. And this hasn't happened in like 6,000 years that those two planets met at 0 degrees Aries. And that 0 degree point of Aries is the beginning of the astrological zodiac. And it is our seasons, right? It's spring. We also just had the spring equinox. And the spring equinox is 0 degrees of Aries. So think about what that represents. Of course, in the northern hemisphere, it's like springing to life, new energy. And we also entered the year of the fire horse back on February 17th, right before Saturn and Neptune conjuncted. And the fire horse is a very fast, strong, heart-based, compassionate energy. And this is April 1st. We're at the time of the full moon in Libra today. And the energy is just going to go accelerated for the rest of this year. So really, absolutely key to get yourself grounded and stable, because the energy and events are just going to fly by so fast. It'll be like whiplash. What's going on now? What's going on now? We're already feeling it. Okay. So I just want to get back to Saturn and Neptune for a few moments, because something the astrologer Rick Levine said, it blew my mind. I was listening to him months ago, probably 6 months ago, talking about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Now listen to this. So Saturn is known as the planet of practicality. It's material things. It's the hard stuff that we don't want to do, like paying our taxes and keeping our accounting and, cleaning the house, although some people love that. But it's just, going to the dentist, right? It's just all those things that we have to do in our modern world. And they're just not fun, right? So Saturn is really the planet of like the killjoy, right? And in our society, this is the physical realm. Saturn represents reality as we know it, the real concrete world. Okay, let's put that aside. Now, Neptune is the exact opposite of Saturn. Neptune is mist and fog. It's the oceans. It's constantly moving. It's transforming from one state to another. It is the imaginal realm. It's spirituality. It's anything ephemeral. It's the dream world. It is also then the unseen realm. So opposite of Saturn, you've got the visible realm and you've got the unseen realm. And for all of our lives and for millennia, we've been taught that Saturn is all there is, right? Not Saturn, but we've been taught that the real world is everything we can see. And everything else is, it's woo-woo, right? Now, with the development of quantum physics, I love science. Quantum physics is just so amazing, because quantum physics shows that whatever we thought was material and real is actually imagined. So our emphasis on Saturn being reality is now shifted to Neptune being reality. Our reality is ephemeral. It is vibration and frequency that is the foundation. It's the consciousness. It's the light realm that is foundational to everything in our physical reality. Everything springs from this imaginal, unseen realm. Everything springs out of that. That is manifested. And that is the big shift that we are at the threshold of. It's such a switch in paradigm of our thinking. It's almost impossible to imagine how life will be when we all step through this threshold. So that's why we can't know what life will be. What we just know is the fear of leaving this physical, everything that we know is visible, is real. We're shifting out of that reliance on that. And it is confusing. It's challenging. And for many, it's very scary. But for others of us, light workers, healers, spiritualists, it is super exciting, super exciting. And I want to leave you with this. Well, the full moon in Libra today is at 13 degrees. Well, it's 12 degrees something. But if you look up the Sabian symbol for Libra, the symbol is children blowing soap bubbles. Let me just read a little that I pulled off the internet about this image. The imagery is far more than a nostalgic nod to childhood. It is a profound esoteric teaching on the nature of the soul's creative impulse. In the grand theater of the zodiac, this degree represents the stage where the individual learns to create for the sake of creation itself, rather than for the ego's need for permanence. The bubbles are metaphors for human endeavors, relationships, and even civilizations. Breathtakingly beautiful, perfectly spherical, and inherently temporary. The soul at this degree has come to experience the joy of the moment, learning that a thing does not need to last forever to be spiritually significant. It is a lesson in non-attachment disguised as play. Well, I'm going to keep that image in my mind because play is such an important aspect of our humanity that we need more than ever before to tap into. Play, be playful, be lighthearted, laughter, curiosity, really going back into that child mind, that beginner's mind that does not know the universe. We become so jaded and we know how things work, and we've lost that magic and that wonder and that awe. So bring yourself back into that child mind where you look out and you're just entranced by a yellow daffodil that's bursting open on your lawn. Really, really, we need to move into that. And I'll leave you with this one last image, a dream last night. And you, as many of you know, I'm inspired by my dreams. This came on the full moon of Libra, right? I'm in my house and I'm hearing a lot of activity across the street, right outside my front door. A lot of noise and celebration. And I stepped outside because I want to be part of that. I want to bring that in. There was a real sense in the dream of, I want to soak up that excitement and energy. And I see that there's thousands of people sitting in chairs, getting ready for a graduation ceremony. And they're all, every one of them are dressed in one of those graduation gowns and hats. And I'm just sitting there, and there's trumpets, and there's excitement of singing and crowds talking excitedly. And that, everybody, is us collectively walking through that threshold, graduating from a Saturn-based paradigm to a Neptune-based paradigm of joy and love and openness, expansiveness, and stepping into that play and gratitude and, oh, the imaginal realm. So I'm going to leave you with that, everybody. I would love to hear if this sparked anything for you. I know I rambled. I look forward to seeing you the next time inspiration hits me. Thank you. Have a great day.